Hello students, today we are going to start third lesson of economics, money and credit. In this lesson we will talk about the most important entity in our life, and that is money. What is the mechanism of money in our life, how it is operated by Reserve Bank, when we go to the bank, how the money is circulated from one person to another person, what is the credit system of the bank, what are ATMs, what is check, how the cash is circulated among in the country. All these things we'll try to understand in this lesson. And the most important thing is how the rate of currency, that is how the foreign exchange ratio is decided. That we will talk in this lesson, and we'll try to understand the mechanism of banking system. So let's begin. First of all, while starting our journey, we will understand the barter system. Earlier, when the people used to give and take something, they have to exchange something. If a person wants to take shoes, then he didn't have to give the money. He used to give wheat or the cotton to him, and on the place of cotton and wheat, you can take something else. So here you can see the picture. One person is giving something in the bottle, and one person is giving something in the bag. Okay, so they are exchanging something. So in this way, this was the exchange system of commodity. It is a system in which goods are exchanged for other goods. If you want to take vegetables, then you have to give something else. No need of money. This is what barter system is. If you want to witness this, you can go to any villages. Okay, any small villages, any village must be there. So there you can visit, go to any grocery shop. There you can observe many people still in our India also, or in many villages. The people, they come to grocery shop, they take oil or sugar in the place of cotton or groundnut seeds, or we can say groundnuts. Okay, so in this way, by giving groundnuts or by giving maize and cotton, they are taking sugar from the grocery shop, because sugar is not cultivated in the farms. So I have given you one example. Actually, this system is decreasing means what? Now it's almost extinct. But still, rarely you can see it in the villages, because now we have brought the system of currency. So why we exchange the barter system? Wasn't it good? What were the problems of barter system? Let's talk about it first. Lack of double coincidence of wants. What is this coincidence of wants? First, let's try to understand this term. Double coincidence of wants means both persons, they are willing to take something from each other. Only then you can give and take something. Only then it's possible. So both person, they should be agree on the terms what they are exchanging, or the commodities they are exchanging. For example, if a person who is selling shoes and there is another person who is selling wheat, so the person who is selling wheat, he comes to the shoe maker, or we can say the person who is selling shoes. He says, I want to buy a pair of shoes. Will you please take wheat from me, and will you please give me a pair of shoes? Then the owner of the shop of the shoes, he says, no, I don't want the wheat. Okay, so then the person who is selling wheat, he has to find another person who needs wheat, and who has the shop of shoes. Means both things he has to search for. So this is the first system. This is called double coincidence of wants. From both sides, it must be needed. Only then you can exchange your commodities. So this is the first problem of barter system. Second, storing value means, as we have taken the example of wheat, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it only. Wheat, it will it will not last long, isn't it? After some days, after some months or years, it will get, what we can say, spoiled, or we can say it will get damaged. Okay, so there is a problem of storing. Then third thing, deferred payments are difficult. Okay, every time if you want to go somewhere and you want to purchase something, then you have to ask that person, what do you want? Again, you have to come back to home and you have to carry that thing to give him, because always we can't carry the things with us. If you want to go to any shop, then every time you have to take a bag of maize or cotton with you and then you have to sell it there. So this is the problem of transportation, we can say carriage. So we have brought the currency, notes, paper notes or the coins we can easily keep in our pocket. And now we are more modern than that, and we are using only ATM cards with us, and now we are using digital money, isn't it? So there is a problem in storing value and payments are difficult, and some goods are indivisible. Okay, so means if you have a solid thing with you that you want to give to the person and you want to exchange something from him, so with the value of that thing you cannot divide the commodity that you have, because it is indivisible. So this is another problem with this barter system. And there can be another problem that the value may not match with each other. So considering all these limitations of barter system, our ancestors thought there should be a uniform system of currency where any person who has this specific commodity with him, he can purchase anything, isn't it? But that thing must carry some value at that time. So when barter system, we replaced with the money. Okay, so the money forms we are going to see about it. So here you can see the old forms of money. Okay, so at that time they thought we have to bring such a system where we can exchange, we can take something from the seller and we can give him the money, so that all these problems can be avoided. So keeping this in mind, our ancestors thought about money. So what is money? You can see many notes here. Of course they are not Indian. Anything which is used as a medium of exchange, store of value and standard of deferred payments is called money. So medium of exchange, we use money as a medium of exchange. So you will go to shop, you will purchase something, and a medium of exchange, what you will give him, you will not give him any other commodity. You will give him money, paper currency, coin. Okay, and nowadays you can transfer the money, digital money. So in this way our ancestors thought about it, and they moved towards, and they formed the medium of exchange, and they brought the money in our system. Now let's talk about the functions of money. It has store value, means for many years you can keep it and it will not be what we can say damaged, isn't it? Paper currency we can keep for many days. Coins, don't ask about it. Until and unless we melt it down, you can use it. So this is the most important thing of money. Second value of money is money is a standard of deferred payment, an agreed unit of measure that enables people to contract for future payments and receipts. Everywhere 500 rupees note has same value everywhere in India, whether you go to Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, wherever. Okay, so it has standard value. Then third most important thing is you don't have to carry it with you everywhere, means such a big luggage in the form of maize and cotton, etc. You just have to put it into your pocket, so everywhere. And the most important thing is its value is standard everywhere. Then let's talk about old forms of money. At that time you can see there were gold coins, silver coins, then the copper coins. All these coins, they had their own value. Gold coin, for in today's term we can say gold coin is a note of 2000 rupees. Then silver coin we can say 500 rupees. Okay, and then copper it is 200 or 100 rupees. So in this way they had their own value. So the value of currency dependent upon the metal, which metal you are using. If it is gold, of course it will be costly, because it is the thing which we use for our ornamental uses. Okay, so Afterwards, this was the second step in evolution of currency, that these coins. And on these coins you can see means different pictures are given. So the person who is prominent in that specific country or in that empire, his symbol or his picture will be imprinted on that. So if you talk about Shivaji Maharaj's reign, then you will come to know that Shivrai was there. Okay, it was a small coin. So in this way, these emperors, kings, they had their own system in their empires. Every empire, every kingdom, they had their own formation of currency. Now, let's come to the modern forms of currency. Now, this is the third step. Okay, so third step is about paper currency. Okay, so today you can see the use of metal coins, it has been decreased a lot. Of course, still we are using it, but instead of that we prefer currency, that is paper notes, to exchange because it is easy to carry. Just imagine if you have to carry 2000 rupees with you in forms of coin, then how much big pocket you have to carry, isn't it? But if you want to carry 2000 rupees, there will be a single note. So for our convenience also and for bigger transactions, we started using paper currency. Okay, and Reserve Bank operates all the control and regulations about currency. Only Reserve Bank has this right to print any currency. Actually, Reserve Bank of India, they also have their own factory, okay, and where they print money. So only those specific factories, they are allowed to print the money. Many times foreign people, those who are not in the favor of India or any country, they try to circulate black money, or we can say uh, fake money around the country, okay, so that the economy of the country will be collapsed. So in this way, uh, if you think, then you will come to know that Reserve Bank of India, it operates all the operations about the money and financial system. All other banks, SBI, Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of Baroda, and many banks, they all operate under Reserve Bank of India. All the rules and regulations. See, means there can be a question in your mind, sir, can we open our account in RBI? Nobody can open the account in RBI. But all the rules and regulations, it is the umbrella branch of all the banks. So, Reserve Bank of India formulates all the rules and regulations about the banking system, and they have the authority to decide how much paper currency or the coin currency can be printed in the country. So there is also specific criteria for that, how much currency can we print, how much, because again, many times we think that if such a poverty is there in our India or in the world, then why we don't demolish it by just printing more and more currencies, isn't it? But actually, it's not the point of printing currencies only, because the paper doesn't have any value. The value we have given for two things: one, to the gold, and second, to the foreign investment, or we can say foreign currency that we have in our stock. In their proportion we print the currency and Reserve Bank circulates that. So we have to keep this in very proper manner. There is a specific proportion for that. If we miss it, then there can be a deflation and inflation in the country. There were two countries in the history, those who tried to print more and more currency to take over their poverty. But actually, because of this enormous printing, then they not only suffered a lot, but again they went back. And those two countries were, one, Germany, and second, it was Zimbabwe. Okay, so you just get more information about it. You will find it very interesting to know that these countries, they printed a lot of money where they had no value for the currency at that time. because if you print more and more money, more and more currency, it will lose its value, and again you have to come down. So in this way, Reserve Bank decides this, seeing the foreign currency in the stock, and second, gold that we have in our stock, and the condition of world economics, or we can say the world trade. So dependent upon that, they decide how much currency and how much paper notes can be printed. So in this way, this is what all about Reserve Bank of India. Let's talk about check. Check is a new system of what we can say transaction. Okay, so demand deposits, another form of money. So let's talk about check first. Demand deposits, another form of money. Actually, many times it happens, we cannot keep a lot of money with us. Then what to do? The solution is here, and that is check. Check gives that facility to us. If you carry checkbook with you, or if you have check with you, then you can write on the check the person whom you are giving the check. There you have to write down. Here you can see whom you are giving, sample payee company. Okay, then how much rupees you have to pay, okay, in number and in letters. Okay, and here you have to sign. So they have their specific number, check number, and MICR number, MICR. Okay, and here your account number is printed, and IFSC code is printed. So what exactly check does? Let's tell me about you this. Imagine that you have checkbook with you, okay, and you have to give 1 lakh rupees to someone, but you don't have paper currency with you. So you and your what we can say, your amount is in the bank, and you don't have the currency with you. Then you can give the check to the person, and you can ask him, go to the bank, and you will get the amount. So demand deposit, or we can say the check, it is we demand the bank to give specified amount to the person upon whose name the check is written. So in this way the check works. Now let's talk about the bank's loan activities. Many times there can be a question in your mind. Bank in bank we deposit money and withdraw the money, isn't it? And many times just for keeping money in the bank we even get interest. Bank just, so what is the benefit of the bank? That can be the question in your mind. The benefit of bank is in taking and giving, input and output. Just imagine that you have deposited 10 lakh rupees in the bank as a FD. Okay, so when you do this, bank just give that amount to someone on more interest. Means if you have kept your FD there, then bank will give you interest rate of 5%. But when bank will give loan to another person, bank will give loan him on 8% interest rate. Means there is a benefit of 2%. So this 2% is very big amount, and banks operate on that only. So in this way bank gives many kinds of loans: personal loan, business loan, mortgage loan. So home loan is the cheapest loan. Okay, and personal loan is the, we can say, expensive loan. Okay, so we can take the loans from the bank, and in the forms of EMI we can just give it back to the bank. Okay, so about cash reserve we will see in our next lecture. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.